Briahna Joy Gray, who's been very outspoken for Israel, not for Israel, for Palestinians, has called this a genocide, has called this ethnic cleansing, always doing important work on it. She was just fired by The Hill, The Rising, that's their show. Even with someone as awesome as Briahna Joy Gray on it, it's still kind of this controlled opposition thing, because it's like, if you have a brilliant voice and you seat them next to all day long a moron, you basically mush up every issue so that people don't know what's happening. So people don't know the reality. Actually, I'm going to play a clip here in a moment. So that doesn't mean that Brianna's not doing great work. I think she does, but it means that, do people walk away educated from that, like, I'm left wing and know what the hell's going on, I'm right wing and I'm making it all up as I go? Does that mean people walk away with much information? I don't know. It's tough to say. I'm not sure that they do. Briahna Joy Gray tweeted out, "It finally happened. The Hill has fired me. There should be no doubt that the rising at the Hill has a clear pattern of suppressing speech, particularly when it's critical of the state of Israel. This is why they fired Katie Halper, and it was only a matter of time before they fired me." Basically, when they fired Katie Halper, which was way before October 7th, months before, that it was very clear it had to do with her doing a segment on how Israel was an apartheid state. She was fired for that segment. Then October 7th happens, and Briahna Joy Gray was not sure what it would mean for her. If they're firing people because they're speaking out about Israel, then it seemed like Briahna was going to be fired next. She was able to stick around for a while, but it finally became too long. People have been making the point that how insane is it that she gets fired for calling out genocide, for calling out massacres, for calling out the fake news of what went down October 7th, the beheaded babies, fake news, the sexual violence, fake news. She gets fired for that, yet her co-host was spitting out fake news on a regular basis and not fired, still there. Here is she and him arguing about whether the 40 beheaded baby story, which even the White House retracted, even the White House retracted, I think you can admit it's not true now, you doofus. But here they are arguing about that.
And it is interesting that there have been no calls to censor. I mean, it's not the same for the President of the United States, obviously, but to even ask for an apology or a personal retraction from Joe Biden after lying about the 40 beheaded babies that have yet to materialize. His campaign, his administration got away with putting a retraction out to the press without him ever, as I understand it to date, being asked about why he specifically averred that he had seen evidence of something that even the IDF said that they had no evidence of.
That's not true. It's been shared on social media. The Israeli government has said this is the picture we've shown Joe Biden. That is literally not. That is not true, Robbie. It is absolutely true. How many times do you have to see pictures of blown apart children before you concede that they exist?
I see pictures of blown apart children every single day, Robbie. They're Palestinian children. What I have not
So you're saying there are no Israeli blown apart children? What is wrong with you? I just don't get it.
Robbie, we're sitting here in front of the computer right now. How about you pull up the confirmation that there were 40 beheaded Israeli children that were found at that location that was reported by that is Israeli news report on that day. And we finally follow up that the White House retracted its retraction of its own story, which said Joe Biden misspoke. He did not, in fact, see visual confirmation of 40 beheaded babies. And show me where the Israeli media that very specifically said we cannot.
Listen to yourself.
I'm hearing myself loud and clear, Robbie.
We have seen images. I don't know. There are exactly 40 babies that were killed by decapitation, but I've seen burned babies.
Anyway, you get the point. He's absolutely wrong and has been absolutely debunked again and again. She's absolutely right. Even the White House retracted that story. And he then tries to backtrack by saying, I don't know if it's exactly 40. Well, we now know the exact number, the actual exact number as admitted by the Israeli government of babies murdered on October 7th. And that exact number is 2. And neither of them were beheaded. Both were killed in crossfire between Hamas and maybe IDF, maybe others shooting at them. But One was an actual, baby of a few months. The other was inside the mother's womb when the mother was shot. The baby was not able to be saved, so that baby died as well, or that fetus died as well. So that's the entirety of babies killed on October 7th. So there is zero of the 40 beheaded babies. You know how many there were? There were zero. Briahna Joy Gray here is bringing the absolute truth, while this maniac spits stuff that's even been retracted by the White House, of all places, and yet he doesn't get fired. That's just fine. This is an ongoing purging, right, of the voices that are bringing you the reality of what is happening in Gaza. It is an ongoing process of purging them. I mean, you got Katie Halper, you got Briahna Joy Gray. Of course, way before that, years before that, you got Mark Lamont Hill purged from CNN for talking about Israel. Rick Sanchez, in many ways, purged from CNN for bringing up the Palestinian point of view years ago. Chris Hedges is no longer at The Real News. But more importantly than actual fired journalists is just the ongoing shifting of the stories, the putting out the absolutely fake news about, sexual violence was used as a weapon on October 7th, while we know that the New York Times expose, which was then reprinted in various forms around the world, we know that that has been completely debunked, complete garbage. And even the journalist, one of the three journalists who wrote it, said that as she went around Israel, and I've brought this to you twice now, but as she went around Israel, she couldn't find any evidence of sexual violence on October 7th, and ultimately just basically had to come up with something. She doesn't say made something up, but that's what it seems like.